last couple of years, animation has become a medium that has affected our generation, no matter what age you are. While yes, animation is mostly seen for everyone, there are other types of cartoons that mainly target one audience. In this case, I'll be talking about adult animation, truly a perfect topic for a teenager like myself to cover. Recently, adult animation has been the main vocal point regarding quality in cartoons recently, the main argument being that, quote-unquote, all adult cartoons are the same and they are oversaturated. And while I can see where people are coming from with this argument, especially with networks nowadays pumping out pretty basic adult animated shows like The Prince and Chicago Party Ant, most of the time adult animation can be pretty groundbreaking with shows such as BoJack Horseman, The Critic, Clone High, Mission Hill, and South Park. However, today I'll be talking about an adult animated show from a TV network that not a lot of people think about when talking about adult animation, that being Comedy Central. Sure, many people do remember some of their shows from the network like Home Movies, Ugly Americans, and Super Jail, but try asking your friends if they remember watching Freak Show or Moral. Yeah, didn't think so. But if you were to ask me what my least favorite adult animated show is, I would say, without hesitation, that it would be the adult animated show Jeff and Some Aliens, because it is everything wrong with the current state of adult animation. So, let's not waste any more time and talk about this thing.
Aliens came from the sky, the Galactic Council sent them.
And here's the reason why.
Their mission is to study Earth's most average guy.
If humans are worth saving or if everyone has to die.
Wait, what?
Before we talk about Jeff Some Aliens' history, first we need to talk about yet another adult animated cartoon series. The show in question is called Trip Tank. Trip Tank is an adult animated sketch comedy television series which premiered in April 2nd, 2014 for Comedy Central. The show is made up of various sketches portrayed by multiple animation styles created by many different animators and writers. So to put it simply, it's basically Comedy Central's version of Robot Chicken. Trip Tank didn't last long, so it only lasted for 2 seasons, and the people that did see it thought it was an overall mixed bag. But personally, I found it to be decent. Not bad, yet not good either. But why am I talking about this show exactly? Well, that's because Jeff and Some Aliens was one of those shows in Trip Tank. In fact, it became a recurring sketch in the show. Jeff and Some Aliens was created by Sean Donnelly and Alessandro Manelli. The show starred comedian Brent Genel, who you might know for playing Murray Balma from Stranger Things, as title character Jeff, the quote-unquote most average man in the world, having to deal with his 3 alien roommates who analyze Jeff because it's a part of their mission to judge humanity to see if it's worth survival or extermination by their alien overlords. The sketches were loved by many viewers, and to the point where in January 11, 2017, it expanded to its own spin-off, still having the name Jeff and Some Aliens, but expanded to half-an-hour episodes. The show lasted 1 season with 10 episodes, with the show getting cancelled on December 1st, 2017. So with the history out of the way, let's talk about what makes me think that this show is adult animation at its worst. Okay, so let's begin by talking about the writing, and the best way I can describe Jeff and Some Aliens' writing is that it feels like Comedy Central just put 4 teenagers in a room and told them to write a show. To get a good feel of what the quality of the show was back then to what we got, I saw the Trip Tank shorts beforehand, and needless to say, the 2 shorts available on YouTube that I saw were not really that good, in terms of both writing and animation, but for now I'll just focus on the writing. From the 2 shorts that I saw on YouTube, I thought they were really unfunny and pretty gross for the most part, and one of them, the aliens have sex with Jeff's elderly mother so they can get rid of her cancer. Weird plot, but okay. However, it turns out that the sex was just to get rid of her pores, and to get rid of her cancer they just put a fist in her face and they got rid of it. So the entire short was just showing the 3 aliens having sex with an elderly woman with cancer. Oh yeah, reminder that people collectively had to write, animate, and voice act this. Needless to say that Jeff and Some Aliens' core concept basically wasn't to focus on the quality of the writing, but is to make as many sex jokes as possible. And I couldn't have a problem with this if the jokes were actually, funny. Instead, no, what we get is the most basic and unoriginal jokes imaginable, so right off the bat I wasn't looking forward to the new short. But luckily, it was somewhat better. The concept was mediocre, but the reason why I think it's better is mostly because of the jokes in this one. They weren't all funny, but the last few jokes at the end were actually pretty funny, since the concept of this short was Jeff pretending to be his ex, while his ex is in a coma-like state while also being skinned alive. Why yes, that is gross as fuck. I found it funny seeing Jeff beat the shit out of his ex-current boyfriend. So I was both kinda sorta optimistic and worried about seeing how the real show is. And now that I watched the actual show, well, I guess you can kind of tell how I feel. The writing in this show is just so bad. It has the aforementioned unfunny sex shows coupled with a pretty unoriginal concept like Jeff gives his years of living to impress his ex, but becomes old, so he must get his age back while giving his money away. Or Jeff wanting to find a new girlfriend, but wacky shenanigans happen. In fact, out of the 10 episodes in this show, almost half of the episodes have to focus on Jeff finding a love interest and failing. It has the same structure but with a different, not funny punchline. And like I said, it would be fine if the jokes of the show were somewhat funny, but this show is as funny as Starman's writing quality.
Oh, are you wearing a Darman t-shirt?
So not good. So what are my favorites and least favorite episodes of the show? Well, my favorite episode, and by favorite I of course mean the episode that I didn't find as terrible as the rest, is actually the first episode, Jeff and some honor killing. This episode was pretty neat concept with an execution that was only shaped by a character, that being Jeff's boss, who's undoubtedly the best character in this show. And as for my least favorite, I would have to go to the rest of the 9 episodes, but I'll lower it to 2 just for simplicity. Those being episode 5, Jeff and some colonists, and episode 3, Jeff and some preteen girls. While yes, I did read off my script, I will never say it again. Episode 3 has to do with Jeff wanting to help his niece not lose interest in her hobbies. And how does he do that? The aliens give him a robotic preteen girl, and Jeff, who's a middle-aged man by the way, controls the robot teen. Oh yeah, he also gets into a relationship with a preteen guy.
Have you thought about signing up for the talent show tomorrow, by the way?
Yeah, right. That's for nerds.
I'm just saying, if you did enter it, I'm pretty sure I'd suck your
Hey yo, what the fuck?
And as for episode 5, we have alien colonizing Earth, and the human race needs to stop them. That's a cool idea. How do they do it? Oh. Okay, so I refuse to explain this any further. Anyway, now let's get into the animation. And something I'll give this show somewhat credit for is that it looks different. Not good, but it's different. Listen, if you're watching this video and think that Jeff and some aliens is somewhat good in his writing, that's perfectly okay. Everyone's entitled to their own opinions. But I think we can all agree that the show's animation and character designs look ugly as fuck. Like, I completely understand that the producers wanted to force the show to look the same so it can appeal to the same audience as other adult animated shows do. That's been happening a lot lately. But this doesn't really seem as corporate meddling. This was completely supposed to be an artistic decision shown by the small shorts and triptych. And you fully expect an animated short to look better than the original version, now that the animators have a bigger budget up their sleeves. But no, instead they stuck with the butt ugly look of the shorts with the bland character designs that the characters had. Now, I'll give the show credit, there's nothing interesting you can do with the character's overall design. But for fuck's sake, you could have done something interesting with the aliens' designs. They're aliens! And to an extent, outer space creatures are a gold mine when it comes to creating character designs. But Jeff and some aliens said, nah, let's just give the aliens green and just make them wear underwear. That's definitely original. And I used to think that Roger from American Dad had a lazy design. Oh boy. One thing that I kind of like about this show is that it's somewhat violent. Again, the first episode of the show is a good example. It's wacky and over the top, and I think that's Jeff and some aliens tried to be. A show that was wacky but never meant to be taken seriously. But it just ended up being a mean-spirited and unfunny show. Overall, Jeff and some aliens sucks. Like I mentioned before, if you like the show, more power to you, but this is just how I feel about it. I still think that the premise has a lot of promise to it, and with some better writers, I feel like the show would have gone for at least a couple of seasons. But what we are left with is a kinda disgusting, unfunny mess that tries way too be hard to be edgy. So yeah, not a good show. Anyway, I'm gonna be gone for until like December or something. We're too busy playing Nicole Stars.
I don't want that.
Damn it!